we begin in Florida, where Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will meet again today with Ghislaine Maxwell, accomplice of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. When it comes as House Speaker Mike Johnson does not appear to be in agreement with President Trump. As we reported yesterday, he tells our Major Garrett on the takeout that the Epstein case is not a hoax. Here's more of their conversation.
If I had these things in my possession, I would have put them out a long time ago. But I would also have been very careful to protect the innocent. You know, it's the standard in law enforcement, in the courts, and in government agencies that you do protect the innocent. Victims, for example, of sex trafficking and horrific crimes. We don't want their names exposed because they would be subjected to more harm. And so you have to be careful in how you do that. But at the same time, maximum transparency, all credible evidence, we have to keep pushing for that.
And we're also tracking the extraordinary encounter between President Trump and Fed Chair Jerome Powell yesterday. The two butted heads as Trump toured the site of the Federal Reserve's ongoing renovations.
It looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed. You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building, is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago.
Okay, a lot to talk about here. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is tracking all of this for us from the White House. Natalie, good morning. So what do we know about this meeting between the Deputy Attorney General and Ghislaine Maxwell?
Good morning, Michael. Well, as you noted, it will continue today. Maxwell's attorney speaking to reporters outside of the federal courthouse in Tallahassee, where this initial meeting took place. He didn't comment on the substance of what was discussed, but did say that it went on for quite some time. Here's some of his comments. Take a listen.
He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer.
That was Maxwell's attorney, David Marcus. Now, he went on to say that he was thankful the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche came to ask questions, saying it was the first time the government did. And Blanche himself on X said he will continue the interview today, saying the DOJ will share additional information at the appropriate time. Now, you might recall in his post earlier this week when he announced that the DOJ would be reaching out to Maxwell, he said, if Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the DOJ will hear what she has to say. Now, I spoke to a former federal prosecutor when this initial request was made about it. He described it as very unusual, but also noted that typically a cooperating co-defendant's comments or testimony is ordinarily treated as unreliable without corroboration just because of the strong incentive to try and obtain leniency. Michael.
And Natalie, I've got to ask about this. We just heard that awkward exchange between the president and Jerome Powell. What happened next? How did the rest of the meeting go?
Well, it was quite striking to watch, wasn't it? But despite that back and forth, President Trump described this meeting as good, saying that it wasn't tense. You heard that they did kind of remain calm and collected while squabbling over the numbers there. And when asked if he sees mismanagement of funds at the Fed, something that the Office of Management, Budget and Management has alluded to, Trump says he sees a very luxurious situation happening, just saying it's expensive construction. But he also seemed to back away from any previous threats of firing Powell. He said last week that he wouldn't do so, reiterated that message again, saying that that would be a strong move, and he doesn't believe it's necessary. And following this meeting, he did have that social media post, which I believe that you just showed, saying that, it was an honor to tour the renovation and saying the cost overruns are substantial, but on the positive side, our country is doing well and can afford just about anything, Michael. So seeming to maybe try to de-escalate the situation.
All right, Natalie Brand at the White House. Thank you.